Welcome back to Kansai Busker. I just wanted to actually give you a bit of a rundown on getting a guitar if you don't have one, and also all the other little things, accessories you can buy. A lot of accessories are a waste of time, so don't always trust the guitar stores about what you need to buy. And another story I wanted to tell you about that is this is a 1974 Yamaha. It's been my favorite guitar until very recently. Super light. It almost feels like it's made out of balsa wood. And I bought this for $100 in a flea market. And I couldn't even tell if it was actually playable, but I just actually took the guitar in the flea market and I sang into the sound hole. Oh! And I could tell that this guitar had this amazing hum to it. It still does. But at the time that I bought it, the action wasn't perfect. Now, if you don't know what action basically is that you want to look along the frets, each of these metal bars, and you want to look along the guitar, and you basically kind of want to move it a little bit in front of your eyes, and you want to make sure that it's reasonably even, and if you find, and that it's not too high, because if you go to try to press down on strings, if the action is high and you're not an experienced guitar player, you will be aching and you will not want to play guitar for very long. So high action is not a great sign. Having said that, if you find a beauty like this one, which will be in my life forever, you can actually spend the $100, take the punt, and go to a reputable guitar person, a reputable guitar repair person, and ask them. Now, if they say, "Oh, look, it's an okay guitar, but it's not perfect," then you can hang it on the wall as decoration, or you can sell it to someone else for $100 and just let them know what you've heard is okay or not okay about the guitar. So that one's been with me forever. It needs new frets, but I've gotten 20-something years out of it, and it was my street music guitar, very portable. It's just got beautiful belt marks on the back, and it's great. It's part of history. So that's an example of not going to a store to get your guitar. I have a beautiful guitar now, courtesy of a purchase from my fine friend Richard Goodman, a Taylor guitar that's probably worth a couple $1,000s here in Australia. But again, it had been played by someone else and kind of worn in. I don't recommend rushing out and buying a brand new guitar. If you're gonna do that, I think you should take somebody with you who knows what they're doing, who actually can play a bit. Because I've played $8,000 Eric Clapton limited series Martin that had to be unlocked from a room in Sammy's or Manny's or Sam Ash or one of the places in New York City. And it was terrible. It sounded really, really horrible. So don't judge guitars by price, please. But if it is a junior guitar online from wherever and it's a no-name, it may end up being crap. So, but you can find reasonably decent brands at flea markets or online used, but you need to be able to see it and at least sing in the sound hole or something like that. Okay, now, speaking of which, I also wanted to mention to you that the main things that you need to buy when you buy a guitar, you can get a tuner in your iPhone tuner app or in your Android phone, that's fine. I actually really think that a basic clip-on tuner like this one actually works better. I have a pretty sensitive ear, and sometimes friends will say, "Oh, I've used my phone and I've tuned the guitar," and I'll say, "Well, that string's actually a little bit out." When you can probably see it in the screen, we'll see here. When you hit on a clip-on tuner, when you hit the let me just turn that on again, sorry. When you hit on the tuner, it will say, if you're right in the sweet spot, it'll be right in the center, and then if you're a little bit high, a little bit sharp, it will show you that, or if you're a little bit flat, it will show you that too. I like that. Other friends of mine swear by iPhone apps, so that's totally your call. iPhone apps are a little bit more portable. You can have them anywhere, but I swear by the clip-ons, so which are also not very expensive. Last few things. When you start out playing guitar, the heavier the strings are, the more they're going to hurt. So you can get light gauge guitar strings, any brand really, as long as it's not a super crappy brand. You basically just ask people in the guitar store, which brand would you not use? And they'll usually give you your middle ones that are affordable but not terrible. Light are great. The only problem you'll find with light strings is that they will wear out faster. So I swear by medium gauge. Again, any brand is fine. I've used Diodario and Elixir and Martin and many of them. The other issue, if you are living in the subtropics or a sweaty place like New Jersey in the summer, be very careful about hoarding strings or trying to buy multi-packs online because they will rust in the pack. So I've learned that the hard way. So just buy what you need, maybe share with friends. You will find for most of us that it's always one string that breaks often. So just be aware of that. Last two things I wanted to tell you. Capos. When you play guitar, if you're like me, and Glenn Campbell did the same thing, you can actually play the same chords and change the key. Okay? So for example, let's imagine a song has got a G, a D, and a C in it. Okay? Now you can grab a capo, and I will tell you my two favorite capo brands. You grab the capo, you stick it on your guitar like this, and then you can play, that's the G, you can play that, it becomes, I think, was that a G sharp? Okay. Then you can go up higher like this, and you can play a G here, and it becomes, I think, an A, and so on. So capos, as they move up, they raise the key, and they make your life much easier. So get yourself a capo. Now, this one is a little bit more fiddly to use. This one is called a Shub capo, a very fine American brand, and I'm not telling you about it just because that's where I grew up. They are wonderful. I have sent them back my used capos with issues, and they've actually to recondition, and they've actually just sent me new ones for free several times. Great brand, SHUBB, not cheap, but excellent. The other one is the Kaiser, which I think is KYSER. Some people like these ones because theoretically you can just use one hand to stick them on. I've never found that they bite exactly on the strings the way I like, but it is a wonderful capo also. Very, very good brand. Don't buy a cheap capo. It's a waste of time. Okay, last two things. String winder. When you're changing strings, which I can show you in another video, a string winder, which almost looks like a fishing rod reel, can go on to the tuning pegs and make your life a lot easier because you can change a string in a matter of minutes rather than 10 minutes sometimes. And so you can get a basic one like this brand. I'm not selling them, okay? But you can also get one like this that actually has a wire snipper on it. That brand is, what is it? Planet Waves or something like that. Anyway, that's another thing you can do. Those are also nice gifts if you have somebody guitar playing in the family. Last thing I wanted to tell you, and then I'm going to sign off. When you start off, you want to start with a thinner pick. I swear by Dunlop or Dunlop picks. They are excellent. Again, I'm not getting any money from these guys, but they're great. They've got a bit of a non-slip surface on them, a little bit of abrasive plastic on them, and they seem to last a long time. So I've been using Dunlop for about 20 years. When you start out, you want to get something light. I think this one is 0.7 something of a millimeter. And then as you get a bit more confident in your playing, solid picks last longer and they sound better and they get more sound. This one is 0.8 something of a mil. And now I'm playing with a guitar pick that's a Dunlop that's about 1 millimeter thick. They're harder to play with if you don't really have the feel. But once your playing gets softer with your right hand, you will find that you'll get a lot better sound out of a bit thicker pick or plectrum. So that's just my little spiel on guitars and picks and capos and strings. And good luck with purchases. I'm not an expert, but if you do have some questions, you could email me or message me on YouTube, and I'll try to help you out. Thanks a lot.